Hey there, everyone. It is Michael Damon back with you for the latest episode of Starbeam.one Standup and Shine and Shill. And if you ever wonder why I'm so happy with these introductions, it's because I probably do like 15 or 20 takes to kind of get into the zone here. Anyways, Starbeam.one Standup and Shine and Shill. We also Shill here. It's a series I put together to bring you up to speed, up to date with my project Starbeam.one, taken after the agile methodology of stand-ups, using stand-ups to let you know what I've been working on, what I will be working on, and any sort of friction points that I've been encountering. And it turns out so much more. Let's begin. Okay, program notes. So this is a semi-weekly program, and what that means is it occurs every other Tuesday. There is a wrinkle with that, of course, is that some months have more Tuesdays than others, and August is one of those months that has 5 Tuesdays, so that kind of throws off the schedule when you do plan that out. So how I handle that is just don't have a show, and so you will not see me until the first Tuesday of September. Okay, so moving on from there, the other points here are just kind of showing where we are right now with the schedule. And right now we are in Alpha 0, which is the Friends and Family announcement, which was made back in June. And now we're working towards Alpha 1, which is going to be on October 4th. So that's kind of a semi-announcement here. And that's just going to feature some user account and creator account improvements. And creator accounts especially, because those are what's kind of holding up the show right now. And it's a really difficult workflow right now with getting creations done, and I want to get that in place before getting promotions in earnest and marketing out there in earnest. And that's kind of the next Alpha 2, which is going to be circled for December 6th. Alpha 2 is more, that's actually when things are going to really start happening here with marketing, and that is the marketing and promotions Alpha. So we have Alpha 0, which was announced back in June, and now we're looking at Alpha 1, which is going to be in October 4th. And then finally, we're going to have Alpha 2, which when things are going to start really moving here with promotions, and that's going to be December 6th. Okay, dashboard. This is a segment where I go over the major statistics of the application, and anyone can get to the dashboard. I have this here. You don't have to be signed in. Just go up to the hamburger menu and select dashboard, and you will see all the statistics that I'm about to present to you. And I will start out by saying that we had what I would consider kind of a minor major event right after, during the promotions of my last episode. It was the most successful promotion I've had thus far, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. But I promoted this on Reddit, and it kind of exploded, in relative terms. It's not really all that much when you look at the grand picture here, but up to this point, I haven't really had a lot of traction, a lot of traffic, and we did get a lot of traffic. As you see, we've got 362 in the past month, and most of that is from Reddit from like 3 or 4 days, whereas basically I almost got 100 visits 100 sessions per day. These are Signal R sessions that are accounted for here. And we also got a few user accounts. Some brave people over there from Reddit just signed up and created a user account. So we got one Reddit account and then one Google account. And then a few other accounts that were created in the meantime. But you can start to see, though, all the different OAuth providers I've been talking about are all represented here, and it's starting to build up. And we'll see over time, how many accounts are, what accounts and what the providers are being used by how many different people, right? So it's kind of a cool little statistic there. And so kind of scrolling down, those sales, it's mostly just traffic from that. And a few transactions just testing out. It's mostly me, just making sure things work in production with refunds and withdrawals and things of that nature. And then everything else kind of looks the same here. We have network value and then the transaction balance. So everything looks good. It's just mostly the traffic, as you can see up here. And that's the news for the statistics this week. Okay, so what did I do? And this is kind of talking about the stand-up, getting back to the stand-up formula of talking about what we did and what we're going to be working on and any friction points. So this is what I did for the past 2 weeks, and starting out with this Reddit thread, which I already mentioned. It was kind of the major event. It was actually, I had some tasks that I was supposed to be working on, and I did get to them a little bit, but this Reddit thing was kind of a major event. I said it was minor, but it was a major because it took 2 or 3 days of getting actual traction and traffic. And it was also an accomplishment for me because I thought overall it was very positive, right? And Reddit is just one of those places where you fear, I fear, it's worse than Twitter, right? It's got a downvote. It's like Twitter with a downvote. And so, anything can happen and people can downvote it and it can just go south very quickly. But in this case, it turned out okay, and there's a lot of traffic. Well, maybe it's a little too okay, right? And it created accounts, which the last announcement that I made back in March did not. It got basically just people visited, and then nothing happened, right? And which is good, because when people visit, that gives it a chance for the site to break. Even though they're just visiting, there's a lot of things that can still go wrong. And the same thing happened this time around. There wasn't anything major. There weren't any major exceptions, but a few exceptions did occur, and I fixed them. But it was like 2 or 3 days of this, right? And I was just like, whoa, this is like getting all this traction and success, for lack of a better term, and just keeping track of it, right? Making sure that people are able to view it the way that you want them to view it, right? You don't want to have an exception being thrown or whatnot. But, getting back to it was a better turnout, both with traffic and also with reception, and then also with results, right? We've got 2 accounts that were created, which is awesome, right? People just create accounts, and it worked without exception, and there were no exceptions thrown during that, and so that was good. But on the other hand, it was more one of those things where I was taking 3 days to watch over this, right? And it's just one of those things where it's like, man, how am I ever going to market this successfully and keep track of my development tasks and keeping on track with that sort of thing? It's just it's a concern, right? But hopefully, I kind of hope I liken it to like jumping into cold water, right? And hopefully you get acclimated to that after a while. And I'm hoping that's what happens. But that's what happened this time. I was like, half of the sprint was basically just keeping a track of that, making sure things were okay with that. But past that, I did get Coinbase refunds working. So Coinbase refunds, it turns out Coinbase does support refunds, but not formally, not on their end. I had to just essentially repurpose the withdrawals, which work on my end, and repurpose them so that they do a refund instead. And that's what happens now. And I'm actually going to be doing the demo for the refunds in Coinbase for the Shill segment for today. And also kind of a quick note there, that's only you can only do a refund through Coinbase retail. So I do not provide a refund to a cryptocurrency address, and that is just more, keeping things, it's just more of a security concern or just safety concern at the moment. Even though it's a refund and you can only have 1 refund per 30 days, it's just one of those things where everything goes through Coinbase right now, and I just kind of want to keep it that way as we get off the ground. And so that takes care of that bullet point. And then finally, I did get some administration application tasks done, and that was kind of, that's the last remaining task in this set of features, which we'll get to in the next slide, and that's sort of an ongoing task here. All right, so that's a good segue, getting into the next slide here, which is what I am working on, or what I will be working on for the next 3 weeks. And the administration application, I still have a few more days left on this. Just kind of, really, we're kind of in CMS territory, content management system territory. So I'm just kind of taking the data that's from the database and making it presentable in an easily navigatable way within an application, and then performing some actions around that. So one of the things that sort of arised, and we'll get into it with a demo with a Coinbase, is that the figures, the numbers that are used, the accounting numbers, are not exact. So every coin has its own set of rules on what it can be, how it can be traded. And XLM is a perfect example of that. You can only trade XLM in whole numbers. So you can't do like a 0.5 XLM or a 0.1 XLM. It has to be like a 5 or a 6 or a whole number sort of thing. And so what that leaves is value left over in your account. And so I started thinking like, wow, what happens if you're doing a refund, and I don't think this is going to be an actual scenario, but what if it happens sort of thing. But if you're doing a refund, someone wants their money back, so they're probably not in the greatest of moods or the most understanding of people, even though, it is an alpha sort of thing, but just kind of, running with a fear here. Worst case scenario, they want their money back and you refund them their money, but there's like 8 cents or 5 cents or somewhere in between of that value that's left over. Well, dude, I mean, you're going to have to get them their money back somehow, but how are you going to reflect that in the system? So, right, there needs to be like some sort of accounting system, or like having some way of adjusting some value there with accounts and whatnot. So that's sort of on the radar here. And then after that, it's getting into the Alpha B features. This is kind of rounding this out. This is what's going to be done for the October 4th, 10-4, right? And so 10-4, that's going to be 3 years, by the way, 3 years of full development on this product, because I started this adventure in October of 2019. It's just so difficult to believe, but all of these features will be done for the 10-4, hopefully, and that will be getting the account. I talked about this last time of getting your email, establishing an email, making that more formal. And then also, basically, these are user account things that are top of the list here. And also, in case you get locked out of your accounts, having a way your email of getting back in sort of thing. So that's what I'm going to be doing here for the next 3 weeks. Let's move on to the next slide here. Friction points. Wow, I hate to press my luck or jinx anything, but things are looking pretty good here recently. I know Harold and I were pretty busy up there at one point with whole sorts of problems. It was pretty bad, but right now Harold and I are pretty not busy. We're pretty idle with our pain. The only thing that is occurring is this Office 365 support ticket, and it's not really... I know what the problem is, but they're looking into the problem, and they're actually taking a week to reply with each email right now. So I sort of get the sense they're just wanting me to go away sort of thing. And, it's like a 1 or a 2. It's actually has no bearing on anything that I do. It's just more providing insight into how Office 365 support works at this point. So not a big deal. And the other remaining thing is Visual Studio deadlocks. And I haven't really encountered that this past week or so. They released a new preview, and it seems to be better, but I haven't run into anything. Of course, I haven't really been debugging anything as much either. So everything seems to be okay. I'd rank it like a 1 or 2 out of 10 as far as pain goes. So sorry, Harold. Effectiveness level. So I was feeling really good last time. I think it was 8.5. And I was feeling so good, I was going to go on Reddit, and it was just great because it was well received. Everything worked out fine, except for the fact that it took like 3 or 4 days off of my schedule as I was constantly monitoring it. And so it's really difficult for me to focus on that and then also kind of get into the zone for development. And so I did fix a lot of issues with development. So maybe it's a little bit higher than that. Maybe a 6.5. But that's kind of what I have it for now. Okay, time to shill. It's my favorite part of the episode when I do have something to shill. And so today I'm going to be showing off the Coinbase refunds. And so last time was a whirlwind, right? That was 40 minutes in total video, and it was such a churn with my machine. So I'm trying to keep these short and sweet. And this one, this case, I've already gotten the deposit from Coinbase Commerce. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the transaction to kind of show what this looks like. Actually, just kind of back up here. To get to the transactions, you just go to the transaction. And to get to that, you can either do 2 things. You can click up here with your account value, and that will take you to your account screen where you will see this list of buttons. And then when you click on the transaction, it'll take you to the screen. And so from there, you click on a deposit. There we go. Okay, and that will bring you back to where I was. So when you're at a deposit transaction, it'll present you with a list of actions applicable to that transaction. And in this case, we can start a refund. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start that. Also note that it talks about the refund policy up here to check that out before you start. And so here I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to connect with Coinbase. And hopefully this all still works here. All right, and so that will take you to your wallet to connect. And I'm going to select my XLM wallet here. All right, so, yep, my machine is still chunking along. I'm going to have to get like a dedicated demo machine here. And so you just type in a reason here, optional if you'd like. And so refund. Okay. And then, okay, spelling is all right. And so with you can also select the reason, right? So we have, that's other, it defaults to other, and you can also select a mistake or if you're unhappy, if there's a problem. And if you do have a problem, please do let us know what that is. Okay. And so, here we go. We got like kind of a breakdown, and so this is kind of it's a super challenging problem. And half of the reason why I want to do this was for the challenge, right? But it's also kind of to add this last important feature, because now all ways of providing a deposit now feature a refund of a way of getting that back. But you can see here that not everything, you're dealing with cryptocurrency. And so now you have to translate that. You have to convert it. Then you have to get that value back to the person. And the only way you can do this right now, as I mentioned before, is through a Coinbase retail account. And that's what we have here. That's what I did in that previous step where I connected that XLM wallet, and I can remove that and connect another one if I want to. And so kind of rounding out the point here is I have a lot of text here and links that will take you to kind of the more description of how Coinbase operates, right? And this is how they do the transactions and converting a value. And it will tell you how each market, how each coin has its own different set of values for that. So XLM, perfect example, you can only do whole numbers. And so you can only do whole numbers at XLM. And so I know I provide an estimated here, and that is not a whole number. In order to actually get the whole number, I would have to like incorporate their system there. And that's just a lot more work for an alpha, I believe, at this present moment. Eventually you might want to get to the point where it is pulling the exact number. But anyways, just getting to the point here is that the value is not exact. And so it's just kind of letting the user know this. Okay, so from here, we just go ahead and we click OK. And the other thing you might notice that's different from last demo is that everything's in a screen now, has its own dedicated start screen, and then allows you to confirm with a dialogue. So before everything was in the dialogue. And so now it's its own page and it is a confirmation. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to select OK, and that's going to start that off. And now it is under review. And now I'm going to go to the application administration application and get that approved. There we go. Okay, cool. That's so you can see here a few things happened is that there was a transaction that occurred from the exchange account, from my exchange account, and then sent it to my retail, and then sent it from my retail into the established wallet here. Hopefully you can track along with that. But you'll see here that we have some value left over. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is that you can't, due to Coinbase and how they do the value, there is some value that is left over in the account. And, if this becomes a problem, eventually what I want to do is, this is called dust, by the way. This is what's dust, is what they call dust with exchange. In exchange parlance is that you do like some exchanges and then you'll have just a fraction left over. And so what I want to do with this dust is donate to charity, right? You can provide a little charity account, or we'll have a list of charity accounts that you can select, and then you can send it to your charity of choice sort of thing. And so that's one way of tackling that problem. It's probably the best way of tackling that. The other way is, sending out a check for a couple cents. My bank did that the other day. Maybe that might be something that we can do as well. Hopefully that won't happen too much. But, I'm still it's one of those things. I still have this 9-cent check from my bank, and I still haven't cashed it because it's just like, is it really worth it? Sort of thing. But anyways, hopefully that gives you a little bit of context here and get a little bit of idea of the Coinbase refunds. All right. Okay, another episode in the books here. And, before I leave, just wanted to send my thanks and appreciation to everyone who has shown their support, recently and even in the past. I really appreciate all of the support and likes and feedback and subscribes that you have provided. We're up to 17 subscribers now with very little promotion here. Very, very appreciative to each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you for your time and for your support. And so if you want to provide any feedback, all the information there is there for you to do so. And you can also just leave a comment in this video on YouTube, and I will get back to it. So until next time, stay safe out there and stay bright. Goodbye. Thank you.